Yo, what's going on? This is Deon Taylor, the director of Fear.
And you're listening to the Horror Squad Podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad Podcast, episode number 275. Tonight we're going to talk about 2023's Evil Dead Rise, which is currently in theaters. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Joe, we have Steve. Just to get right into it, there's no really easy way of saying it. You guys here, if you're not on the Discord, which most of you guys aren't, you'll know him as the gentleman that calls in pretty much every episode when we have questions, and his name is Chuck. And the sad news is that he passed away this past Friday on the 21st, I believe it was. And just, I don't even know what to say. Great guy, great person. Shout out to Teddy, his son, who's a great little guy as well. And, you know, he'll truly be missed. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just I was just in like pure shock. You know, Steve messaged our little group, and I hadn't even checked the Discord. I hadn't really checked my phone. And when he was like, you know, Chuck passed away, I couldn't believe it. You know, it's just terrible. I mean, he was so young. He's only 37 years old, and you know, he's got a young son, and he was probably our most loyal listener. I mean, the guy, he sent in audio questions every single week. He was so active on the Discord, and it's just not going to be the same without him. You know, he was basically like almost like a fourth member of this podcast, because all of the stuff he did involved with it. So it's really good. It's this one really hits hard. Especially, you know, and we just lost Michelle, you know, just a couple weeks ago as well. So yeah, it's been a tough couple weeks, and my heart goes out to everyone, his family, and Teddy especially, and to all of our listeners. You know, I know a lot of you guys were close with them as well. So yeah, just everyone, you know, stay strong.
Yeah, I just don't know what to say. You know, Chuck was he was such a good friend of mine, and all of us really. I chatted with Chuck pretty much every day in some form, whether it was sending each other stupid TikToks or on Xbox. We'd have like these dumb contests about who can spend more time breaking rocks in a Disney game or some just stupid shit that we were always together. Whenever I watched like just the worst movies, he'd be the first one I'd text like, "Hey dude, you need to watch this ridiculous movie about you know, a killer tree or something stupid," because he appreciated the so bad it's good genre as I did. It's a void that just won't be filled. You know, he was an amazing person. Anyone who knew him was impacted by him in some way. I'm still in shock. You know, it's been 3 days now since we learned the news, and it's like I refuse to believe it, but I know, you know, it's true, and he's gonna be missed, man. Like every single week I edit his audio questions, and you know, it's crazy that we're not gonna have those anymore, and his presence is you know, it's gonna be a tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be a tough episode to get through, but Chuck would kick my ass if I didn't do this. Like, that's just the type of guy he was. For us to not do an episode or to, you know, not carry forward and do stuff would upset him. You know, he's the type of guy who would be like, no, you know, like celebrate and just be good to each other. And that's what I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to celebrate his life rather than mourn his death. I will mention that, you know, this is really too soon to like do a memorial episode, but next week we will do a memorial episode to Chuck. We're actually having a vote on our Discord as to what movie to review, one that represents him the most, you know, one that he would want us to do or something like that. So to his family, and like you guys said, to his son Teddy, you know, I use his intro once in a while, and my deepest condolences. I can't even imagine. So yeah, we're gonna do this as best we could, you know, to in his honor, and we'll do his memorial episode next week. And just you know, bear with us. I know when I watched Evil Dead Rise, I watched it after I found out, and it was hard to concentrate. I'll try to review it as best I can, but it's a tough one between him and then Michelle, like a couple weeks ago, like Todd said. Oh my God, just I didn't expect this. So rest in peace, my friend. I'm gonna miss you terribly.
Yeah, it's terrible. I was really looking forward to meeting him, coming up, and yeah. I mean, it's just
There's nothing you
life's fragile, and just appreciate every single day. Obviously, I mean, this is really tough. So everyone stay strong out there, and I don't know what else to say. And there's really no easy way to transition, obviously. But we're gonna do this episode obviously in memory of our good friend Chuck. So I also want to mention we have an interview tonight with Deon Taylor, his new horror movie Fear, which some of you may have seen. It did hit theaters back in January, but is going to be hitting VOD coming up here on. Actually, it'll be out when this episode releases. It hits VOD on April 25th. So yeah, me and Steve are going to talk about the movie during our What Watch segment. And yeah, stick around for the end of the episode for the interview. All right, so now let's get into some horror news this week. Biggest thing that's probably come out in the last couple weeks is a Conjuring television series is going to be is in the works at HBO Max. I haven't read whether Patrick Wilson or Vera Farmiga are going to be involved at all, but I know James Wan's production company is going to be involved with this. The series is set to continue the story established in the feature films. That's really all the details we have for now. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Conjuring television series. You think this is the right way to go with this franchise?
Honestly, I think it's a good platform for it. I'm thinking X-Files. You have Mulder and Scully doing their Monster of the Week episode, which were always the best episodes in my opinion. So I can see whether they go with a husband and wife team, I forget their names or not. Like I can see this really being a really cool like weekly haunt kind of thing. Plus HBO puts money in their show, so that's also a positive.
Yeah, I agree with Todd on this one. If they stick to the formula of, kind of the case of the week, I think it could be really successful. If they try to bring a lot of like dramatic bullshit to it, and I don't know if I would be as interested. I think too many shows are trying to make these big stories when you could just simplify it. Honestly, just have a monster of the week with the Warrens taking over different cases throughout their career, and I'd be way more down for it than this big dramatic thing. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I do love the Conjuring universe, so I'll at least give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm excited for it. Even though the last movie wasn't my favorite, I think, yeah, I like Todd's idea. Yeah, like kind of doing almost like a weekly sort of thing. That could be kind of cool, but also like a sort of storyline episode, could be cool too. So we'll see where they go with it. All right. Well, speaking of Patrick Wilson, Insidious, the Red Door trailer just dropped the other day. Patrick Wilson is going to be directing this one. The entire cast is pretty much coming back for this one, including Lynn Shay. I mean, she died in the first movie, but hey, she just keeps coming back, ladies and gentlemen. This will be
Ghostbusters on her. Shit.
This will be the fifth installment in the Insidious franchise. It will be releasing in theaters July 7th, 2023. Patrick Wilson gave a little quote here. I'm honored and thrilled to be at the helm of the next Insidious installment, which will provide an amazing chance to unpack everything the Lamberts went through a decade ago, as well as deal with the consequences of their choices. Directing this movie is both professionally and personally a full circle moment for me, and I'm extremely grateful to be entrusted in continuing to tell this frightening and haunting story into the further we go. What do you guys? I mean, you guys watched the trailer. I got it with my Evil Dead Rise when I went and saw Evil Dead Rise, so it was cool to see it. I had seen it previously, but I saw it on the big screen, and yeah, I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I watched the trailer too. Well, I mean, not watched it. I averted my eyes in the theater because trailers are just so telling now. They give everything away. But yeah, I love Insidious. Last Key was pretty weak, but still solid film. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I also saw the trailer in theater, and I also had seen it before. I love the Insidious franchise. I think it's really a really good franchise. I'm really looking forward to it, but I will admit the trailer didn't super do it for me. The creepiest parts of the trailer are the scenes from the first one that they're showing. So I'm kind of like, okay, where are they going with this? I don't know. There's something about the trailer that's just not vibing with me. So I'm still on a kind of wait and see basis, but it's Insidious, so I'm still psyched about it. It's just trailer didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Insidious franchise. It's always been like kind of a soft spot for me. I've liked every single entry into it, and this one looks cool. I really like that they're kind of doing like a 10-year later type thing. They're actually bringing, you know, the original actor that played Dalton back and whatnot. I just recently saw him in The Whale too. He gave like a really good performance in that too. If anyone has seen that,
Oh, I didn't know that was the same actor. That's pretty cool.
yeah, same actor. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for it, and you know, seems to be in pretty good hands with Patrick Wilson directing and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'm super excited about it. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a movie we'll definitely cover, so stay tuned for that. All right, next bit of news here is radio silence. You know, with the success of Scream, a lot of people want to know what's next in store for these guys, and it seems like they might be helming a new Universal Monsters project. Deadline reported on this that they have been attached to be directing an untitled Universal monster thriller. It sounds like it will be playing with the classic monsters. Matt Bettolini opened, and Tyler Gillette, of course, will direct, and Chad Vallejo will produce as usual. No other details as of now, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like there is going to be multiple Universal monsters, perhaps. So the thing that immediately comes to my mind is sort of like a Monster Squad maybe type thing going on here, or maybe like a versus movie. But yeah, I mean, I think they're a good choice here to do this. I mean, I would love to. I hope I keep hearing James Wan's supposed to be coming back doing something as well with the Universal Monsters, but it seems like the Universal Monsters might finally be getting put into the right hands. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
You know, I think they're a great team, Radio Silence, because like I really loved Ready or Not. I feel with Scream, they kind of had their hands tied a little bit between studio and like Scream franchise expectations. So I'm kind of excited for them to do something with a little bit more freedom, because I doubt that there's going to be a lot of interference for a Universal Monsters movie. So I'm excited. You know, I think they have the talent to do it, and it could be good. You know that. And they've been trying to reboot that for such a long time that hopefully now they're going to start putting him in the right hands and doing something special with it. Because the last one that was good for me was probably Invisible Man with Lee Wynell directing that one.
Their next one isn't Scream 7? Or is this just future?
You know, obviously, I'm sure Scream 7 hasn't been officially announced yet. So, I mean, you know it's coming. It just hasn't, you know. So maybe they're gonna take a year off to like, you know, kind of build the hype or something. We'll see, I guess. But you know, they're attached to this for now. Whether this is going to be their next movie or whether they're holding off until Scream 7, we'll see. All right, next bit of news here is file this one under is it too soon? Because we are going to be getting a remake to last year's Speak No Evil. It will be an American remake, of course. James McAvoy is going to be starring in this remake. For those of you who don't know anything about Speak No Evil, you probably haven't been listening to this podcast, because Steve and I believe Todd too, like all really enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it the most. It was in my top 10 of the year list from last year. But yeah, so James Watkins has been brought on to direct. He did The Woman in Black and Eden Lake. And yeah, the movie is going to be released in theaters next year, August 9th, 2024. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about this?
I just don't feel like they can really improve it. You know, so I'm curious as to why they're doing this. It's just like, what more can you do? I hope if they do end up doing it, that they don't, I hate to say this word, but like Americanize it, where they take out a lot of the really like bad stuff, because that's what kind of made the first one so powerful. You know, I want them, if they're going to do it, to really kind of bring that point home. But I have a hard time seeing an American remake of this. It felt a very European story. You know, I just don't see an American version of this. But I guess James McAvoy is great, so I have faith in that. But I don't know. I'm not sure about this one.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, I think I kind of agree with you. I think it's going to be probably a watered down version, like every other American remake, such as Martyrs. And I haven't seen Inside yet, but I've heard the same thing. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not excited for it, but James McAvoy attached, maybe it will be good. He's a great actor, so we'll see. All right, filed this next one under. You're either going to be really excited or really disappointed, as Rob Zombie has said he most likely will not be making any more Firefly movies or Monsters movies.
Oh man, no.
In a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Zombie said, when asked about the Firefly Clan, he said, as far as theatrical films go, the Firefly Clan, maybe there'll be graphic novels or other things, but at this point, the 3 movies feel like they go well together. It took a lot of work to get the third one made, and no one's getting any younger. Even with the third one, Sid Haig, from the time that we started talking about the movie to the time we shot it, his health declined so severely that he went from being one of the leads to barely being able to keep him on set for an hour to work. So yeah, I think we just got it. We got in just under the wire to make a trilogy. As for the Monsters, Zombie suggested in his chat that he won't and flat out doesn't want to make another Monsters movie with Universal. Zombie went on to explain, the only reason I would ever want to is because I like making sequels. You have so little time with the first movie to develop these characters. Towards the end of the Monsters film, you go, okay, now they're all set. You can really jump in with what they're all about. But c'est la vie. He said the Monsters was exhausting. He said it was an exhausting movie to make, almost 5 years of nonstop pushing, and then being in a foreign country during the height of COVID was not as much fun as you would think. So the whole experience was very draining. So no more Monsters, no more, Firefly Clan movies. Some will be disappointed, some will be excited. I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what's in store next for our good friend Mr. Zombie. Maybe an original movie would be good for him.
I got a couple issues with this statement.
Okay.
Where he kind of smells like full of shit a little bit. Like, he never should have done part 3. But I think a lot or most people agree that movie fucking sucks. And like, yeah, you're talking about for 5 years and Sid Haig literally dies right afterwards and you barely have a minute. Like, I think you got to pull the plug and just be like, hey, you know what? The fans which are supporting this little indie movie, because 3 was a fucking little tiny indie movie, want to see Captain Spaulding and we don't have him. Sorry, let's cut it. You know what I mean? And then the Monsters, like, what do you mean you need to have all this running time to establish these characters? These characters are established. They're X amount of years old. You don't need to have long. We talked about it in our review. You don't need to have all this build up. You can just literally have a minor setup, get them in the United States, because I think we all agreed the movie got better when they got to their home, not all the bullshit before that.
For
So,
5 minutes.
Rob, get your head out of your ass, man. But I still love fucking corpses. I mean, Rejects, Halloween, obviously he's made some fantastic films. So still a supporter, but that statement's a little weird.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's not like anyone saying, I really wish they made a second Shawshank Redemption because you were just getting to know those characters in the first one. It's like, if you could make a fucking complete movie and get to know the characters all in one shot, especially someone that basically people knew already, they could have easily just done a friggin' quick intro to who these characters are, send it to the US, like you said, and have an adventure there, because that is where kind of the movie shines. But I just hope he goes back to something original, because I think that's personally where I think he's best at, without, kind of the shackles of, I guess, expectations or, studios or whatever it is, and make another Firefly type film, not, another one of that story. Because I agree 100% with Todd. Without Sid Haig, it wasn't the same, and it's a shame.
Yeah, also be careful what you wish for, though, because 31 was pretty awful. And I know Lords of Salem grew on me. I personally think it's pretty damn good now. But maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm due for 31 then to see if I can get over it.
Maybe they age well, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what his relationship is with his brother Spider-1, but hey, they're both directing movies now. Maybe they can team up and do something together. That could be kind of interesting. So we'll see. We'll keep you up to date on our good friend, Mr. Zombie. Next bit of news here. Art the Clown continues to just reign supreme, ladies and gentlemen, as it has been announced that the original Terrifier now is going to be heading to theaters for the first time this summer. It is going to be slashing its way into over 700 theaters nationwide, on July 19th, 2023. I'm not seeing whether this is going to be a one night only type special event type thing or not, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be something like that. But yeah, if you want to see the original Terrifier on the big screen, now is your chance. Yeah, Art the Clown, so hot right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Will you guys go see it? Number
No,
one. No,
no, I'm good.
me either. Me either.
Yeah,
I bought the Blu-ray. It's like I'm good.
it's enough. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it at home if I want to watch it again. There's no
like
reason to go
for
see
me
it.
to go back and watch something post-release in theater, it's got to be like one of my favorites. Either something that I really love that I've never seen in theaters because I was too young or something, or like an absolute favorite of mine. So yeah, this is it.
I'm honestly though, I'm excited for the crew, man. Like they got this really small market that they're taking advantage of, and a lot of people that aren't horror fans are seeing this and freaking out. So that's good too.
Alrighty, just a couple more to get through, ladies and gentlemen. Scream is getting turned into a tabletop board game by Funko. I know some of you might be disappointed about this, but it's still pretty cool. They're coming out with a game. So in a press release by Funko, they announced the Scream. They are making a multiplayer tabletop game set in the Scream universe called Scream the Game. Very original, I know. In the title, Ghostface has returned to Woodsboro and is hunting the players who will have to work together to survive. Scream the Game comes with a Ghostface figurine, as well as a free app that ties into gameplay, which will feature voice acting from Roger Jackson, of course, who most famously, of course, voiced Ghostface. The website also previews gameplay for the tabletop game. Will be fast-paced, and each round is estimated to take only around 20 minutes. The game will be hitting shelves later this year. What do you guys think? Would you guys pick this up?
Cool. Yeah, for sure. I like the voice acting aspect too.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's up for pre-order or anything, but just keep an eye on Funko's website. I'm sure there'll be a lot of details coming out on that very soon. Hell House LLC. I know a lot of you guys are fans of that. Well, filming has just begun on a new movie. This time it is going to be a prequel. Don't really have anything else to say on that other than you guys down for another? Are you guys fans of the franchise? And are you excited for a prequel?
I like 1 and 2. I don't like 3 as much. So I'm good. Like it had to be a prequel. There's only so many times they could go back to that fucking hotel and have the same thing happen over and over. So I think prequel is really the only way you could go. I don't know if it'll be the same though, because the found footage aspect is what makes that series special. And I don't feel like a prequel would be a found footage. It'd be a little weird to have old timey found footage. So. Guess we'll see.
They find like a
stereograph,
I'm one of the few, man. I'm one of the few that doesn't like the original and has never seen any of the sequels. So I'll skip this one unless we have to watch it.
Yeah, we'll see. Also, Chucky Season 3 has officially begun filming. It will be premiering later this year. Also, we are going to be getting a Stranger Things animated television series coming later this year as well. And finally, what comes next for our good friends, the Duffer Brothers? Well, they are going to be developing The Burrows. So this one sounds interesting. So The Burrows is about in a seemingly picturesque retirement community in the New Mexico desert, a group of unlikely heroes must band together to stop an otherworldly threat from stealing the one thing they don't have: time. So basically, it is Stranger Things in a nursing home. That will be coming from Netflix later this year. He said, while the heroes in the Burrows have a few more years on them than the kids from Stranger Things, they are a similarly lovable bunch of misfits, and we can't wait for you to join them on an adventure that turns scary, funny, and deeply touching. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Stranger Things in a nursing home, basically.
I saw this movie already. It's called Bubba Hotep. So
or Cocoon.
Cocoon. There you go.
Or Old People, I think it's called. Did the same thing.
Well, yep. I guess we'll just wait and see.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for horror news this week.
Is that it though? Is that it?
Oh,
I know there's
Nope.
one more that you're just waiting.
Oh God, yeah. All right, yeah. I completely forgot to mention this.
Yeah, I want to make sure we mention something like this before I throw it to our ad.
I love how I was gonna say we always end with terrible news and then we throw it to our ad. Yeah, I completely forgot about this. It was kind of being chatted about a little bit. Ed Gale, who of course played Chucky, he of course Brad Dourif voiced Chucky, but Ed Gale was the man in the suit in 1, 2, 3, and I believe Bride of Chucky, and then he didn't continue on after that. But yeah, a big part of the Child's Play franchise. I know a lot of you may be fans of him or not. Well, if you are not aware, he last week was busted for potentially he was accused of luring a young child to his house for sex, basically sort of a to catch a predator moment where they busted him. He did admit to it in his videos. You can check it out on, I believe the Instagram is Stop Ed Gale. But we just wanted to kind of throw this out as sort of a warning to anyone who may not have known about this. I don't believe he is currently in police custody or anything like that. We will keep you updated on that as things go, but you might want to throw his autograph in the incinerator or whatever, or don't try to sell it currently.
Yeah, and this is for the kids because I know we have kids and minors that listen to us. Be careful on the internet, man. Like us three on this podcast didn't grow up with the internet, so it's a little different for us, but you guys have access to all this shit and people will prey upon you. They'll pretend to like the shit you like and, know who you are and stuff like that. Put all your stuff private on social media. They can get everything. So just be cautious. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and be careful of that. I sent to Joe like right after he sent me that news. People are trying to sell his autograph for like big prices. They're trying to kind of get rid of it before I guess people find out. Gross. So we're telling you, don't buy his autograph if you see it out there. It's just fucking disgusting, and I hope he rots. It's tainted, honestly. Yeah. I have his autograph on a Funko Pop. It's I got it in some box. It's. I think I actually gave one away on this podcast because I had two. So whoever got that, just FYI. So yeah, so of course, with news like that, we will throw it right to our sponsor as we tend to do. So here's a word from Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Yeah, I've had 2 cups of coffee today. I don't know if you guys have had any.
Yeah, I a really long day of work. It's tough to work today, so I needed all the coffee I could get.
I was off today, so.
What do you drink? What kind of coffee guy are you, Todd? Just like regular coffee?
No, yeah, I brewed coffee, I guess, traditionally with grounds, and I like a lot of cream in mine. So I don't drink it like black or dark or anything like that. I like it really, just cream it up for me. I'm a cream kind of guy.
I drank it exclusively black for a long time, and now recently I've been putting 1 sugar in it just to add a little bit of just to take a little bit of bitterness out.
Well, we got a badass over here.
Your forefathers ghosts.
But every once in a while I'll get something a little.
So you never get like a.
I'll get a special, like every once in a while. Every once in a while I'll get that. But like every night at work, I get a medium ice black.
Just black, wow.
With 1
iced
sugar.
black, you said?
Yeah, ice black with 1
That's
sugar.
even worse. It's cold. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Steve, are you?
Typical Canadian. I get what's called a double, which is 2 creams, 2 sugars. But I'm a very plain coffee drinker. Like I'm the one who goes to Starbucks and like, can I just have a regular coffee with 2 cream, 2 sugars?
The person looks at you like, well, I'm gonna have to look at the fucking book. I don't know how to make
yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, they know me now because the only place near my office is a Starbucks. So I just always go in there and I'm like, just a regular large coffee, please. I don't know your stupid lingo or all that shit. So.
Venti.
Sure. Yeah, so whatever copy is available, I'm a pretty plain guy with that too. All right, what watch? So Joe and I will have the same what watch this week because we are on interview duty with Salem Horror Fest going on. But before we get to the what watch, I do want to ask Joe, because so this was the first weekend of Salem Horror Fest that just passed by, and there's a second weekend coming up. So how was the first weekend at the fest, Joe?
Yeah, it was it was cool. I planned on attending some of the screenings, but shout out Salem Horror Fest. They actually sent me some screeners, so I didn't have to go to the theater to watch them. But yeah, I mean, it seemed very successful. I was downtown for a lot of it. There was a lot of buzz, a lot of directors, actors, and stuff from all the movies there. A lot of the screenings did sell out. I went and met Linnea Quigley because I needed to add her to a couple of things. I
Does she
added her to
remember
my-
you? You've seen her like 7 times.
I have seen. No, she didn't. She didn't remember me. No, but yeah, I mean, she's super sweet as always. I added her to my poster that I've had that I've been kind of working on for the past couple of years now, and my Night of the Demons Susie figure as well that I had Hal Haven sign the 2-pack there, so that was cool. And then I picked up an autograph for Steve as well because he wanted one, so he got the sexy naked trash photo.
Yeah, I've never met her. I've been to so many cons and she never goes to the ones I'm at. So I figure I'd get Joe to get it because I don't know if I'll ever meet her at this point.
Yeah, she was like a sweetheart. We chatted for quite a bit actually. A little Night of the Demons, some Return of the Living Dead as well, and also Goretta was there from Demons. I'm just not a big Demons fan, so I did not meet her. Amelia Kincaid was also there as well. They had a Demons party. I did not attend the Demons party, but I saw some videos. It looked really cool, really awesome. So yeah, weekend one was awesome. I also went downtown and busked for a little bit as well as Freddy and as Art. Both very popular. Yeah, people loving the Freddy and the Art more so than we'll see with Jeepers Creepers. I'm hoping Jeepers Creepers gets a little more love the closer we get to Halloween, but we'll see. But yeah, great weekend one. Weekend two, we'll see. I really want to attend Friday night. They're doing a midnight screening of Blair Witch Project, which I would really love to attend.
You gotta do that, man.
I know. I'm an old man now, though. It's like staying up till midnight is like tough, It's like,
don't you work at midnight? You're always up
I
at
do.
midnight.
I do. I work in the night shift, but when I don't have to stay up late, it's tough to stay up that late, especially when you're on your normal sleep schedule. So yeah, we'll see. I'll probably try to power through though and make it to that because I don't think I've ever seen the Blair Witch on the big screen, so I would love to be able to finally.
I thought you saw it when it came out.
No, I didn't see. I didn't see it in theaters when it came out. I was younger, so I mean, what was that, like 10, 11 when did that come out?
My mom took me to see it with her sister, my sister. And her
Yeah,
friends.
no, I didn't see it till it hit VHS. So I would love to hit it. That and The Shining are like the two movies I really would love to see on the big screen that I haven't yet.
Yeah, I've seen The Shining on the big screen. It's freaking really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, cool. What watched?
Yep.
Or continue. Last week, I think I talked about Evil Dead 1. So today I'll talk about Evil Dead 2 in preparation for Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead 2, loosely remake of the first one, right? And leads into the second with Army of Darkness. Or I'm sorry, the third one. It's unpopular opinion. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Evil Dead 2. It's a solid 4 out of 5 for me. But I think it's the weakest of the trilogy, to be honest with you, because I love the straight horror of part 1. And I like the straight anti-hero Ash is a douchebag of part 3. But the combination of the two in part 2 doesn't really wholly do it for me. But like I said, there's so much great stuff in it. Like when Ash is put in the basement or the cellar and they're playing the recorder, and then it's like Henrietta's body is in the cellar with him. And like the reveal of that is just so good. Ted Raimi's performances, the Hag and all that stuff is fucking excellent. And it's still cool. But like I said, I still think it's the weakest of the trilogy, but it's still at a strong 4 out of 5.
All right, yeah. So I think Steve and I are going to tag team this week on our movies because we did. Let's start with last week. Last week we did, of course, our interview with Spider-1 and Chrissy Fox. Shout out to them. Great interview. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, please go and listen to that interview. But their movie we watched was called Bury the Bride, which premiered actually last weekend at Salem Horror Fest. So shout out to that. And yeah, Bury the Bride is, they didn't want to get into spoilers, but I'll get like mildly spoilery, I guess. But basically, the movie is about a group of ladies who go out on a bachelorette party. They lead actress Scout Taylor Compton, actually, that you guys will of course know from Laurie Strode from Halloween 1 and 2, is in here. But yeah, so she is the bride to be, and they decide to go to this sort of, I don't know, desolate cabin. I think that's owned by her fiance, if I'm not mistaken. Steve, does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think so. There's something.
Yeah.
Someone was connected to that cabin.
Yeah. So, but it's like very, this fiance is very mysterious. Like none of the friends have met the groom to be, and they find it like very weird that she's kind of rushing into this sort of wedding and stuff like that. But, they're wanting to support her friends. So they go out having a good time on this bachelorette party when, lo and behold, the fiance shows up with some of his friends. And we come to find out that the fiance isn't who he says he is. And I'll leave it at that. Yeah, Steve, why don't you, kind of say what your thoughts first?
Yeah. So this was crazy. So we actually recorded last week's episode. I completed the edit, sent it to Joe to process, and then like one night we get the interview with Spider-One and Chrissy Fox, and I had to watch that screener like that night because the interview was like very next day, right after my work. So I kind of had to shoehorn in that that whole thing in the episode. And yeah, I knew nothing about this at all. I admittedly did not like Spider-One's previous film, Allegoria. So I was kind of hesitant about it. But I got to say, this one was definitely a huge step up, in my opinion. It was surprising. Like, it goes in a direction that I really didn't expect. There's some good horror elements. There are some, like, I guess, indie movie issues that I will say. For example, there's a scene, so it's happening during the day, and there's a scene where a girl's like running away, and in 4 successive shots, like really quickly, it goes from day to like evening to night, like in the span of like 10 seconds. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's just like nightfall, just poof, it's night. And it was just little things like that were kind of odd. I do think there are some pacing issues and some other stuff, but I think overall it's a good effort, and it's renewed my interest in Spider-One's like directing career and everything like that, because good performances, really, I mentioned this in the interview, like really funny sayings on shirts. They were having a lot of fun with the wardrobe, and yeah, it's a good effort. Like, I give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's close to a 3, but I think 2.5 is where I'm at. But I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to you. I also like really had no idea what this movie was going to be about, and yeah, like overall, I ended up mainly like more positive than negative. I do feel like, there was just something like missing that really would have elevated this to being like great. But as it stands, I think it's like a really solid one-time watch, especially if you're into the vampire subgenre, because there are some vampires in here. It's sort of like redneck near dark, I guess is the best way to sort of put it. But it's kind of it's interesting. They definitely did like their own sort of take on vampires, and I think it's pretty cool, and it goes to some places I wasn't expecting. So yeah, I mean, overall, like Steve said, a very solid effort. I gave it a 3 out of 5. And I'd recommend it. I think it's a pretty solid watch.
Did you mention it was on Tubi?
No, but
yeah. So it's actually
yeah.
a Tubi original, and I will say, I know it's not the like best compliment ever, but it's the best Tubi original I've ever seen. And the fact that it's like free, it's just amazing for everyone. So I'd say check it out.
My next one, my final one, is going to be last year's Megan. Rewatched it with my 13-year-old, and yeah, man, like I gave it a 3 when we first when we originally covered it, but I'm a little bit down on it. I'm at a 2.5 now. This time around, the lack of horror really stands out. It's quite a lot of running time without a lot of scares, which is a bummer because Megan is fucking creepy, man. She's a creepy little girl, doll, robot. And then the stupid shit like really sticks out now, like the telegraphing, the giant robot that's gonna come back at the end. the dance, the couple songs she sings is fucking awful. So you know what? Like, yeah, I don't think it's that great. I mean, it wasn't on my top 10 or anything last year, but I definitely took a step down for me on my second watch. So that's 2.5 out of 5. Megan. I'm not sure where that is streaming. Let me check real quick. And it's on Peacock, if you have Peacock.
Mhm.
It's actually this year, so you know what? Guess it won't make your top 10 this year.
Megan was this year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
this,
January.
January.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
definitely not making my top 10. I could have
Spoiler
sworn that was
alert.
last year.
Yeah, I know. It feels like a long time ago, but
Wow.
it's definitely this year.
Oh shit, crazy.
All right, so the second movie Steve and I watched was Fear, which we got our interview with Deon Taylor, the director, after tonight's episode. So please stick around for that. Just a super, super nice guy, and he really gives a lot of perspective on the movie. Really interesting interview, so stick around for it. So yeah, Fear is about a group of people who go away to a cabin for the weekend. The boyfriend, surprises his girlfriend with like this birthday trip. And while they're there, it's a whole bunch of, crazy stuff starts to happen. But essentially, they come to find out at one point that there's like sort of like there's some like witches stuff going involved, and then they start talking. They sit around the campfire, they're talking about their fears, and then sort of like these supernatural elements kind of come in, dealing with their fears, but also it's tackling COVID as well. There's with the pandemic going on. Yeah, and that's basically sort of uh, a little plot of the movie. Yeah, overall, I mean, this one was okay for me. I was a little more negative on it before the interview, but after the interview and the director's sort of him kind of telling us how this movie was filmed during like the height of the pandemic and whatnot, and that they were literally like writing the script as they went and stuff like that. Like that makes like a lot more sense to me after watching the movie. So like I definitely respect it a lot more after the interview. Yeah, I mean it's an okay, one-time watch maybe. I do think that them writing it as it went definitely probably hurt the movie because I think the focus was lacking a little bit. I think it definitely could have been tightened up. But there's some decent scares here and there. And yeah, I don't know, Steve, what'd you think?
Yeah, kind of along the same lines. I think there are some good scares, some like solid moments. I do feel that there was kind of a mishmash of ideas, and it's like they were trying to put too many things into the movie and I kind of wish they focused on one instead of doing all of these elements at the same time, because it did feel disjointed at times. And now that I kind of heard the interview, or what I was on the interview, I can see why, right? But I have to tip my hat to him because so this was done really early in the COVID kind of whole shutdown. In fact, he says it's one of the first movies to have like a full-on production during COVID. The movie quality like would not show that at all. It's super well made, and I have to tip my hat to him because that could not have been easy. I mean, we all know, we were all there like during those early COVID days when you were unsure about everything. So yeah, it's well made, it's well acted as well. But like I said, the movie itself, yeah, it's just maybe there's just too many ideas going on at once, and you could tell that it wasn't kind of pre-written and thought out as much as I would have liked. But very talented filmmaker, and I'm definitely going to check out the rest of his stuff, within a more kind of normal context as opposed to this one, which was kind of a rogue kind of movie. So yeah, so check it out if you get a chance. And
Yeah, no, I mean, like you'll hear it in the interview, but they like literally filmed this movie in a bubble, and it's crazy. So please stick around for the interview. And yeah, show him. The guy knows his horror too. Like he went on like a whole tangent about all this horror stuff, and it was really great. So yeah, so thank you once again, Deon Taylor, for that, and enjoy the interview at the end of the episode, guys.
Yeah, I looked at my 2023 stat sheet that I track on Microsoft Excel or whatever it's called. Google Sheets, there you go. And yeah, Megan was my first of the year that I watched from this year. So I'm just out of it, I guess. But All right, now it's time for trivia. So we are on quarter number 2 right now. The 3-time champ myself is in the lead with 11 points. Joe second place 7. Steve third place with 5. But we have plenty of time left in quarter number 2 to juggle those numbers around. Who would like to go for? You know what? I'm gonna go first. All
right.
mine are for my buddy Brent, and they're all taglines, which I know all of us absolutely love.
Oh, wow.
So-
Thanks,
Lovely.
Brent.
Tagline number 1. Close your eyes for a second and sleep forever.
Ooh.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street?
Incorrect.
Close your eyes for a
Close
second.
your eyes for a second and sleep forever.
Ooh. This kind of sounds somewhat familiar. I got nothing though. That sounds like a plot though. I feel like there was a movie where like if you close your eyes, like he would he would come in and like swipe you away or something like that.
I'll
The
give you
Bye
one
Bye Man.
hint. It's not going to be that helpful though. It's from the 80s.
The pee pee poo poo man.
Nailed
The
it.
bye bye man. Anything?
The 80s?
80s, yeah.
No.
No, I got nothing.
All right. The answer is the Slumber Party Massacre.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes
I would
sense.
not have guessed that.
Yeah, I guess sleep for slumber, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alrighty. Everyone's favorite. Match
Tagline?
The killer.
the killer.
Yeah.
Match the killer to the movie.
Ooh, okay. What did
And
we watch
tonight-
today? Oh, we watched Evil Dead. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And tonight we have the Phantom Killer.
The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
That is correct.
Yeah. Fucking love that remake. Original's cool. Remake's better.
Mhm.
Stand
I
by
like,
it.
I like that they like reference the original and the remake.
Yeah, for sure. I've been to that town. That town's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was that a real drive-in?
I'm not sure about the drive-in, but like a lot of locations are still exactly like they were because it's Texas/Arkansas, Texarkana.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
All right. People's real favorite category.
60-second. No.
No. Guess the movie by the IMDb parental guide.
Ooh, my favorite joke.
Yeah, right. Sex and nudity.
Oh yeah.
Full front male and female nudity at the end of the movie.
Dongs and thongs. Okay.
Violence and gore. A character jumps out of a window and is injured.
Happens to the best of us.
Profanity. 15 uses of fuck, 8 uses of shit, and 1 use of dick.
Is dick profanity? Yes, so.
Apparently.
To some.
It's a name.
Alcohol, drugs, and smoking.
Richard Head.
A teenage character smokes pot recreationally. Underage drinking and
As they
teen
do.
partying is seen.
Yep. Standard.
All right. Last one. A character has multiple PTSD inflicted panic attacks throughout the movie, clearly experiencing great pain and crying in an infantile way.
Infantile crying and dongs.
I both
really
they're equal
Dongs
options. Yeah. Dongs and Bush.
Dongs and Bush.
Hereditary.
Correct.
Oh, very nice.
Exactly
Thank
what it is.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, I can see. Yeah, her crying, Tony Collette's crying gets there. Yeah.
That's him. It's him that crying.
Oh, true.
Yeah, the boy.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Good movie, man.
Yeah.
You guys gonna see Mafia Mama, Tony Collette's newest thing?
No,
Mhm.
I haven't seen.
And Bo is Afraid. Ari Aster's new movie too.
That's right.
All right. So tackling number 2 from Brent. It's a headache from hell.
Brain Damage.
Correct.
Nice.
Thank you.
Joe on a fire.
Alrighty. Yeah, baby. All right. Little Evil Dead trivia for you
Ooh.
tonight.
Okay.
When Ash goes back into time in Army of Darkness, what is taken with him?
A car.
That is correct. His
Yeah.
car.
Nice.
Mhm.
Plus a bunch of other shit.
Right. All right. So this is guess the movie based off the IMDb trivia.
Okay.
Although this is the first film, the subsequent sequels go back and forth in time, making this the third film in the chronology.
Okay.
Brendan Fraser was considered for the role of the main actor. Nicole Kidman was auditioned for the role of the main actress. 33 violins were used for the theme music.
Hmm. Is
There's
it-
one last
okay,
one.
okay,
If you guys want to
Go
guess,
for
or you want to? Okay.
No, go for it.
After the first big violent event in the second house, the two
Insidious.
correct.
Yes,
Okay.
that was my guess too.
So yeah, because
Interesting.
Insidious, is it 3 and 4 are before?
Yeah, they
the
go
first
back.
Yeah,
and-
prequels. Yeah.
No.
Mhm. All right.
Sweet.
Nice.
How to keep Lin Shaye for all your whole series.
Yeah, they screwed up killing her.
They make her a ghost in 2, make her make a prequel in 3, 4, make her a video in 5.
I'm looking forward to Specs and whatever this other dude's name is.
Yeah, we don't see him in the trailer. I hope they're actually in it.
Hope so. Back to me.
Mhm.
All right, last one here. Every body has a secret.
Oh, I can picture the poster.
I picture the words.
Yeah.
Every body has a secret.
Hmm. Sixth Sense.
Incorrect.
I can't think of it.
Oh
I have
boy.
one more guess. I have one more guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Poltergeist.
Incorrect. It's within the last 5 years.
Oh. Everybody.
Maybe a little bit longer. 5 or 6 years, something like that.
Is it the I'm just not in it today. The corpse of not the corpse of Anna Fritz. It's the other one. It's the one
What the
that's
fuck is that? I haven't even heard
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the autopsy of Jane
that's
Doe?
right. The autopsy of Jane
Well,
Doe.
Joe, you fucking said it. So
Yeah. Yeah. My
Alright.
head not in the game tonight.
Yeah.
So I knew the movie. I just
That's
The,
pretty.
uh,
Are you
good.
thinking-
That's a good one.
the corpse
This
of
is a
Anna
very good
Fritz is another like female in a morgue that
Hmm.
she's a superstar, and the morgue techs like rape her, and then her
Oh.
her like soul seeks revenge on them, and it's
Oh,
pretty
wow,
good.
That's a cool plot.
It's
Yeah.
like Mexican or something. It's a good movie.
What's that one
Mhm.
where an exorcism body was taken to like a
Yeah,
thing, a morgue, and then like the girl's there overnight?
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what movie it
It's
is.
like
It's like a really
3,
like
4 years
crazy looking
ago.
morgue too. Like I
Yeah.
remember being
no
Are
impressed
you
by
guys?
how like
Are you guys thinking of that Masters of Horror episode?
No,
Or no, that's a prison.
this is a movie, and it's a working hospital too, which was weird. Like usually the hospitals are like abandoned; it's just a morgue. This one wasn't a working hospital.
yeah, and it's
All
like
the stuff's
terribly lit.
happening. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll think about it. Autopsy something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, Joe.
Alrighty. 3 letterbox reviews.
Oh.
Guess the movie. The only toxic relationship I want in my life. Number 2. One of the very best of the very worst movies out there, or that I've seen at least. Maybe that's in the best way possible too. Just utterly disgusting awesomeness.
Oh,
And
I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it Greasy Strangler?
incorrect.
Oh,
Okay, this is the big giveaway. Dead
Damn
giveaway.
it.
Maybe. All right. This movie is a simple reminder that the best superhero is from my home
Toxic
state of
Avenger.
New Jersey.
God
Correct.
damn it! I thought the toxic relationship was. Yeah. All right. 4 clues
Ooh.
for the last one this week. Cereal, popcorn, shower,
shower.
and coffin.
Cereal, popcorn, shower, coffin. Well, my initial guess was House of 1,000 Corpses, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Wrong.
There's no shower though, I don't think. Bummer.
I feel like the cereal's the big one here, but I'm not sure.
They're all kind of on equal footing.
Are they? Okay. Yeah, I don't.
I guess technically the coffin is the biggest one, like story wise.
Okay, right.
Coffin.
Fright Night.
You guys give up?
Yeah, I got nothing.
So those are the 4 things that the spiders are in arachnophobia.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah,
makes
the
sense.
coffin being the most important because that's how the general spider gets to
Yeah.
America.
Creepy. All right. Myself with a good night with 4, Joe with a good night with 3, Steve 0, but we're still fresh, and that's 15 for myself, Joe 10, Steve 5 for quarter number 2. That's game number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. All right. Evil Dead Rise. All right, Evil Dead Rise comes out right now. You can come see it in theater, as if you're listening to this right now, it's in theater. Go see it. So this one starts off traditionally like Evil Dead movies, where we're in the woods, right? And we're following this young girl, and one of her friends or cousins or some shit is sick in bed. So she goes over there to talk to her, and it turns out she's a deadite, and chaos ensues. Then we jump a little backward in time, one day prior, and we're now in Los Angeles, California. We are in an old dilapidated apartment building, and we are with a family that we learn that the husband has gone off because he doesn't want to be a dad or husband anymore, so he's out of the picture. So that leaves our mom, young girl, teenage girl, teenage boy, a young girl, and we're following them. Then her sister, who we met a little bit previously, she's a guitar, I don't know, she works for a band and she tunes guitars and shit, right? We learn in her scene that she's pregnant because she's taking a pregnancy test, and she leaves the tour and goes to her sister's house, who has this family. So the sister arrives and say, "Hey, I need your help." And then she learns that the dad is left and realizes that she hasn't been a good sister because she hasn't been communicating with her family and hasn't helped them with their troubles that are going on right now. There is an earthquake that opens up a secret passage in the parking structure, where the teenage boy and girl, they find, or actually the boy goes in there and he finds some records, and he takes them upstairs because he wants to be a DJ. So he has his little record kit and all that stuff, and he starts playing them. Turns out it is a priest telling us that there are 3 known copies of the Necronomicon, Book of the Dead, and he and his cronies found one. Obviously, that went wrong for him, and he's warning you not to play the tape or not to listen, not to read the book, things like that. But the kid plays it, and he does the spell incantation, and Deadites come back, taking their mom, and now we follow these characters. Yeah, man, I saw this in theater Friday morning, and I overall really enjoyed it. I was actually sitting in the theater, and that opening scene was so fucking cool, especially when the Deadite rises out of the lake and you see the fucking Evil Dead rise imposed over the trees. I'm like, I was literally smiling. It was so fucking cool. So I was into it. I do have some problems though with the setup and the pacing. I think there's some issues there, but overall, my initial thoughts were it's a pretty fun movie, very bloody, and if you like, I think I can see people not liking it if they're like true diehard Evil Dead's fans, like with Ash, because he's not a factor in this. But if you're a fan of the remake from, I think it's 2013, right? Then really think you're gonna like this one. But if you can get over Ash not being involved and not being a factor in it, then I think you'll like this one as well, because I love Evil Dead and I liked it. So that's my initial thought.
Yeah, I was really excited for this. Obviously, I really enjoy the Evil Dead franchise. I don't think there's been a bad one in it. So, and I was hearing great things right off the bat. So I had high expectations going in. Went to the theater. It was like 90% sold out. So it was a really full crowd. It was on a Friday evening. I was nervous because I thought the crowd was going to suck, but shout out to the crowd. No talking, just people just enjoying the movie as it came. So that was great. And yeah, overall, I'm right there with Todd. I came out of this pretty much really enjoying it. I did have some, minor, I guess, issues with it, but overall, I thought it was just a super fun time. The fucking gore is just like on another point in this one too. It definitely reminded me of the 2013 remake, or whatever I know they don't like to call it a remake, or the director doesn't like to call it a remake, but I consider it a remake. So I do think it's right on par with that one. That being said, I think it's probably the weakest, but that's not a bad thing either. You know what I mean? I think it's the weakest out of the franchise, but it's still a really, really good movie. And this franchise still hasn't missed. Yeah, just great stuff all around. The intro, easily the best part of the movie. It was that intro was fucking awesome. And just, you knew what you were going to be in for right away. So yeah, overall, I came out really enjoying this as well.
Yeah, so like I said before, honestly, I saw it after Chuck's news, and I was kind of distraught throughout the whole thing. It's very hard to enjoy a movie while you're in a weird state of mind like that. Despite that, I still think it was a really good movie, and I think I would even put it as my favorite of 2023 so far. I will give it another watch once it comes out on VOD, because I feel like I missed some stuff here and there because my mind was wandering in different places. But like, it was still really good. Like Todd said, I want other movies to start doing credits like that, because that was so friggin' awesome, man. That shot of her, elevated up in the from the lake, and the Evil Dead Rise in the back was just so memorable, and it really puts the movie on a great, it's a great start to the movie. It really gets you psyched for everything. This movie's relentless. It just goes and goes and goes. And in a weird way, it's like it was both always stuff going on, but there was also a really start and stop to it, that was kind of weird to me. Like, it'd be like crazy things happening and then be just pause, and then crazy and then pause, but not in a way that made sense. The demons would kind of stop. They'd kind of just sit out front the door, and it was just like, okay, why isn't she just being like relentless the whole time? You'd think she'd be attacking, the whole time through, and trying to figure out a way to get in or something like that. Amazing imagery as well. The little room that they find under the parking garage was really creepy and fantastic. Like, that's a story I actually want to hear, is how that room came about and all that stuff, how they came to with the book. Yeah, I really like the experience. It's bloody as hell. It's got some great kills. Evil Dead, man, undefeated. It's just wow. I liked it.
Yeah, you know what? And I think that's the amazing opening kind of hurts the film, because like it starts so powerfully and then you kind of like lose a little bit of steam there. And if you guys want to go into the setup of this, it's like, man, like I love that he's playing records. I fucking love it. And I love how the preacher, the father, is on tape, or on the rec vinyl, whatever, saying like, there's 3 copies. We found one. He's laughed out of the scientific world for wanting to speak to the dead, and then on record number 2 he's like, fuck, I fucked up, and then record number 3 is like, oh fuck, I fuck, it's like that story. I would love to see a prequel based on, because he's like, my fellow fathers, or whatever you want to call them, they get possessed too and come after him. It's like, man, I want to see a bunch of possessed priests, like them talking shit with deadites, and if they're like full of religion, that just be like open up a whole different can of worms. So I would love to see that. But like, so convenient with the fucking the earthquake opening up a portal, or not a portal, but cracking it so you can see the old bank vault. I just thought that was kind of weak.
Yeah, I think maybe opening with that intro was great, but I do agree. I think it did kind of hurt the movie, because I liked the outdoor like setting way better. Like, my biggest issue with this movie is the high rise. It just felt very like just confined and like too small. Like, I wish we got sort of outside at some point in the movie. Like, it just felt like I just like sort of claustrophobic. Like, I wish we could have gotten out and broken outside of that box. It just, yeah, I mean, it just felt like maybe they had some budgetary reasons or something, and they were just kind of holding us in there. They were able to kind of work their way around it, doing like, the elevator scene, which was great. Obviously kind of like a nod to The Shining, I think, when all the fucking blood comes out and stuff, which was great. But yeah, I mean, it just felt a little small to me compared to kind of the intro when we were kind of out in the elements and stuff. So that's my biggest negative. I mean, it's not like a huge one, but yeah.
It's funny, that didn't bother me at all. I actually found the opposite. I liked the confined nature of this movie, because it felt like they were trapped with the demons and couldn't get out even if they tried, right? They maybe conveniently, but made a bunch of reasons why they couldn't leave that building. Elevator was busted, it's too dangerous to go down the stairs, and there's like all these reasons why they couldn't get out, and they're stuck, of course, in the apartment itself, because the demons like kind of walking back and forth at the door. So that actually added to me some tension that I think outside we wouldn't have had as much. And also, like, let's face it, the 3 of the other 4 Evil Deads are all at a cabin. So it was nice to see something different with this franchise outside of that element. So I like that out of this. And I also like the creature designs. Like, they were freaky, particularly the one at the end, the merged demon, I guess you can call. I thought that was a really cool idea and unique for this franchise.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm not to disagree on that one. I didn't like the creature because I felt like it was too Resident Evil-ish. Because we had never seen. Well, no, that's not true. We had seen a bunch of creatures, but I don't know. It just like I like the idea of them being a shit ton of Deadites because I think at that point there might have been like 7 or so, and it would have been cool for them just all converge. But one of my issues too is like it telegraphs quite a bit. Like we saw the wood chipper or whatever it was. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get something shoved in that. And then we saw the tattoo machine. Like, oh, someone's getting tattooed. The baby doll spear. Like, yeah, she's gonna fucking stab somebody. So it was a little bit like, all right, let's be a little bit more subtle. But honestly, these are just nitpicks. You know, we gotta find something we don't like about it.
Huge shout out to the word Staffney though. The fucking amazing name for that staff. Loved it.
I get a shout out Alyssa Sutherland, who played Ellie, the mom character. She was fucking great, and her just like, man, the amount of makeup work she must have had to go through. She looked fucking so good, so creepy. Just yeah, like she was great, and she just got announced for a con I'm gonna be going to in August. So
Ooh, we
that's
gotta get that.
definitely one I'll be adding to the collection for sure. I'll be excited to meet her. That's really cool. I also got to give props to the kid actors. I thought all the kid actors were really solid. I mean, kid actors can definitely make or break a movie, and I thought they were pretty good here. I also appreciate that this movie wasn't afraid to go there and sort of possess some of these kids. Like I was not expecting the kids to fucking meet their fates, 2 of them anyway, and that was shocking to me. And I thought, oh, okay. And even the mother, like I thought maybe like they were going to find a way to kind of bring them back or shit, but like I love that. It's like, man, once you're possessed, you're fucked. You are not getting out of it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. This movie had a lot of balls doing some of the stuff they did. Like they impale one of the kids like fucking right through the head. It's just, yeah, they did not shy away. And you're right, the whole time I was thinking, okay, how are they going to get the mom back to her human self? But no, not at all. It's like quite the opposite. They kind of accept that it's not her anymore and then really fuck her up to make sure that she doesn't come back. It was yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like the throwbacks too, like the stuff they did subtly. Like in Evil Dead 1 and 2, they show the bridge all fucked up, and then this one's the staircase is all fucked up, which is a cool touch. But yeah, just one final nitpick is like I think we were talking about like the start and stop, Steve. It's like there was a huge deadite action sequence, and then the little girl stops and is like, "Are you gonna be a mommy?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! Like, get out of here!" Like, who wrote that in? Like, I thought that was just so ridiculous.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like I mean I wish there were more people in this building. Like I know it was like a dilapidated building and it was like falling apart, but like it just seemed like kind of unrealistic that it was like 7 people like in this like massive high rise.
They just didn't hear the constant violence and shotgun blasts and
All right.
chainsaws and shit running. Remember?
Well, it is LA, so
Yeah.
it's just a regular day in Los Angeles apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, do you guys feel like it was like really similar to the 2013 version? Like I felt like it was almost like a continuation sort of like in that same sort of universe. Like, and I feel like now like, okay, you get that. And it's kind of a good thing. Like you get that we're moving on from Ash, obviously, like you get that sort of Ash trilogy, and now we're heading into like sort of a new passing of the torch of this Evil Dead franchise. And I feel like this was kind of the right way to go with it. I heard some complaints, people saying, oh, I wish it was more campy and stuff like that. But I mean, I personally, there was a couple of campy moments, I thought, but for the most part, they went just like straight into the horror, which I thought was cool. I liked it. I didn't need the campiness, honestly.
I agree. I don't think it's needed. And I think without having Bruce Campbell there, they can move on from the campiness. The original Evil Dead's not that campy. It's pretty fucked up as well. It's only when you get to 2 in Army of Darkness that they start with the camp anyway. So I'm fine with them not doing that at all. I don't know if they've revealed it. So Bruce Campbell said he's in this in a secret cameo. Have they revealed who he is? Because I have a theory as to who's playing.
I think he was at a picture for the preachers because there's 3 of them, but I didn't see it fast enough.
I think
I was assuming he was that.
At one point they look down like a window and there's like a homeless person all like covered up just walking with a cart. I have a feeling that's Bruce Campbell. I don't know why.
It could be. Yeah. What'd you guys think of the Necronomicon? It kind of had a different look in this one. I dug it though. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it's dope. I mean, I think the first one's really cool because it's got the teeth and everything, but
Yeah.
with the little like bone claw thingies that he cuts himself on, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a theory that these are all like related. It's all like it's the different books from Army of Darkness that you see. Do you think that there's any weight to that? That these are just different versions of the Necronomicon?
Well, there's 3 of them, right? The preacher said it was, so
Yeah.
that makes plenty of sense.
Exactly. So there's just one we haven't seen before.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
shoot,
cool.
I just watched the damn thing, but didn't they burn it in part 1, which kills the Deadites, and then 2, it's a kind of a remake. I guess it survives from 2 then.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you? I saw one of our. I think it was Katie on our Discord had mentioned. Do you guys think that the cabin in the is like on the same land as like the original Evil Dead, sort of, like our intro to the movie?
No, because that one's in Tennessee and this one's in.
All right. I mean, did they announce? Well, she was going on vacation, so did they say where she was going?
Oh, are you talking about the opening scene from this movie?
Yes.
I don't think it can be in Tennessee because she was driving. That's a pretty hefty drive from Southern California and Tennessee.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I thought I'm on the fence about the sort of creature thing, when they all kind of form body parts and stuff. I thought it looked cool, but yeah, I mean, it seemed like, I don't know, like, I don't think it was necessary, I guess, but like I get why they did it. I mean, it looked cool and stuff like that, but I kind of wish I kind of with Todd, like I don't think it was, I think they could have just, everyone could have been whole and kind of like, the mom with the blown off body parts would have looked fucking cool, kind of like walking around and shit. So
Yeah, see, I thought they were rebuilding her because she lost her arm and her leg in fighting, and I thought they were just like giving them body parts, which would have been cool.
I fucking also loved the one scene that made me cringe was when she was eating the fucking glass, like wine glass or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was like, ooh, that's fucking gnarly.
What really like got, so I went to a full theater. What really got the people was the cheese grater. That I guess got the biggest.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Gross reaction. Yeah, I know they even made a poster of it, so I guess it's not a unique thing to my theater. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the director Lee Cronin too. I enjoyed his last movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it, The Hole in the Ground. It's pretty good. I'd recommend checking it out. I mean, it's not as good as this, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah, no, this movie was solid all around. I guess it's a thing now with Evil Dead that they need to put as much blood as possible because they just, wow, this movie is bloody as fuck. That last scene is like just over the top bloody, and yeah, I was there for it.
So where does the franchise go from here? Because they're gonna make another one. This movie actually killed at the box office this weekend. It did, like, it exceeded expectations, which is great. So we're gonna be getting something new. What do we get? Do you want to see? I know Todd said the prequel. Do you think that's the right way to go from here?
I think so. I mean, do you go back to the woods? Do you stay in here? Do you go to suburbia? I mean, I guess the only thing that's left is the suburbs if you wanted to switch it up again. But yeah, I think the prequel would be so freaking cool. And it did 40 million so far. So that's fucking fantastic.
That blew its budget already. So it's I think the budget was like 25 million with marketing and everything. So
nice.
Yeah, if they did that in one weekend, they're definitely going to see a lot more Evil Deads. And I don't know if it was Bruce Campbell or Sam Raimi who said this in an interview, but he said that there are a lot of opportunities now to open this franchise up. And I think that's what he means is we can get a prequel with the priests, and we could get sequels and kind of, things happening concurrently to this.
Yeah, I know Bruce said he would come back if Raimi directed, and they've been saying that fucking shit since like I started going to cons. Like, would you guys want to see Bruce back in any capacity, starring role, maybe a wise grandpa? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I that's what I was thinking. I was thinking sort of like maybe the guy that would come in to help or something like that, sort of. But I mean, is it necessary? No. I mean, we've learned this from like the Scream franchise. Sometimes bringing legacy characters back isn't always the best decision. But I think with Evil Dead, it's different. Like, because Ash is like a badass, and he's fucking got,
Let's face it.
Everything going for him.
we got 3 fucking seasons of this too recently.
Right,
I was
you
gonna
know?
say, how did that end? Because I never finished it because I wasn't
I
feeling
mean,
it.
I didn't either.
Me either.
Dang it.
So yeah,
Like-
maybe it's not a good idea to bring him back. You know, we got 3 seasons of it, and I guess people didn't really stick around to see what was going on. I think if he comes back, it should just be a cameo, not a full-fledged movie. But who knows? You know, some of these return movies, right? There have been a ton in the last few years, have been pretty good. You know, I think of Rocky, for example, in the Creed franchise. You know, he wasn't central to the story, but he was there, and it elevated the movie. So maybe having Ash there, kind of helping out, would be cool.
Ghostbusters, they came back.
Yeah,
Do
and
you
that was
think
perfect, right?
Right.
Like,
Do you think Raimi would want to come back?
Raimi,
I'm sure he
now
would,
that he sees
right?
the money, maybe.
I don't honestly don't. I wouldn't want him to direct it.
He's got that MCU money now, though. You know, I don't know if the Evil Dead could afford him anymore.
I don't know if I want him to make one. Honestly, I like the new style of these 2 new ones where they're more dark and. I mean, that's weird because I love Army of Darkness, but I don't want to see slapstick in these new ones. I like the darker feel.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree. That was like the perfect movie for that time, but I don't think would work today, to be honest.
Yeah, I think nowadays I'd probably just be like, ugh, like.
Plus Raimi put a ton of CGI in Drag Me to Hell, so he
Yeah.
would do that. And he directed the first episode of Evil Dead, Ash vs Evil Dead, which had that stupid CGI doll in it. So yeah, maybe it's not a good idea.
We'll ask him at Frightmare.
Call him up, Joe, real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts before we rate it?
Nope. Just I'm happy that this franchise remains undefeated because it's fucking amazing. Like, really. And like Joe said, I think I'm also in the camp of this is the weakest of the series, but that is, the weakest of this series is stronger than a lot of other series, like, fully. So that is not a fucking diss to it at all. It's great.
No. And I'm right there with all of us are the same here. Like, I put it on my ranking letterbox as the worst one, but it's a 4 out of 5. That's not anywhere near being bad,
Right.
So yeah, I'm a 4 out of 5 on letterbox with this one.
100% agree. I'm also at a 4 out of 5. And when you say that's the weakest, that's fucking a huge compliment to this franchise. Because, I mean, they're just not missing. It's great. Even the TV show, for what it was like really solid. From what I watched of it, I know I didn't finish it, but it was pretty good. So, movies, TVs, just keep the Evil Dead train running. But I mean, obviously keep the quality up because it's been so great. So, I'm excited to see what they do next.
Yeah, and I'm right there with everyone. 4 out of 5. I will watch it again before the year end because I do want to give it kind of a better shot. Right now, like I said, though, it's my favorite of the year. It just barely, but surpassed Candyland, I think was
Candyland.
my number one. But they're very different movies. It's tough to compare. So I'm probably going to watch them both again since they're early in the year. But I look forward to seeing it again already. So that's as good of a compliment as I could give a movie. I just saw it like 2 days ago and I want to watch it again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was kind of teetering between 3.5 and 4 on this one for a while. And then I looked at my other movies from this year and I looked at Scream 6 and that was the big deciding factor. I'm like, was this movie better than Scream 6? And I said, absolutely, it was better than Scream 6. So that's what made me jump and punch it up to the 4 it deserved.
Very cool. Unanimous decision.
Yes.
It's rare with us now.
It is. It has been
we-
recently,
no grumps this week. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no grumps.
This can't keep happening.
All right, everyone. So that is going to wrap up this week's episode. We thank you so much for listening. Stick around for our interview with director Deon Taylor of Fear. Next week, we are going to be doing a dedication episode to our good friend Chuck. We are letting our Discord members pick the movie in his honor. And I think right now, I think Karis Hell is in the lead. It was one of Chuck's, favorite sort of goofy movies there. So, but if you have any other suggestions, if you had Chalk to Chuck and knew something else that he loved, we want to do a movie that, best kind of represents him in his memory. If you want to join in on that, you can join our Discord. All you have to do is just send us a DM and we will get you into the Discord. You can DM us on our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast, or you can send us an email, thehorrorsquadpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get you the link that way. And yeah, I think that is about it. Stick around for the interview, and we'll see you next week. Once again, rest in peace to Chuck. He is going to be just greatly, greatly missed, and just won't be the same without him on this show. Just not being able to hear his voice every week on the audio questions and whatnot. But we continue on, of course, in his memory, and we'll see you guys next week in memory of Chuck for next week. Bye.
Bye.
Well said, Joe. Rest in peace, Chuck. Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, where today we are joined by a very special guest. His movie Fear hits VOD on April 25th. Please welcome the director and co-writer, Deon Taylor. Deon, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So why don't you start off by telling our listeners a little bit about what Fear is about?
Oh, man. So I made a movie which is, a bit typical horror film, but at the same time, it has a completely different world that I tried to build. The movie is about a group of people that basically want to escape what's going on with these variants, a lot like the world we live in. And ultimately, they go to a beautiful cabin up in Tahoe. And the initial reason why they're there is for a proposal. And to escape the madness of what's going on. And ultimately, we find that our lead guy is actually not only getting ready to propose, but he's actually there to be to study and write on his book. And we also find that he is fearful of commitment. And it just kind of goes all downhill from there, man. The movie explores the ideology of fear and what it means to us and how it stops us from being the best versions of ourselves. And I believe it does a really good job of just kind of putting a mirror up to us. And it's not just spiders and bats and, snakes and all those different things, but it deals with his, a bit of heaviness, which is fear of commitment, fear of not being trusted. Some of these tropes that, we don't tend to talk about, or the fears that we have, when we're alone.
And now you co-wrote this movie with John Ferry. Can you tell us a little bit about, that process and how that came to be?
Yeah, man. So I made this movie during the pandemic a couple years ago. It took me a while to get it together and get it out and all that good stuff. But at the height of the pandemic, not when people were like, I don't want to wear a mask, but before that, when people were like, what the hell is this? Is when we shot this. We were the first movie to be shot during the pandemic. And it was a very scary movie for me, man. I called a bunch of people down and asked them would they join me. Originally, I was trying to make a movie with some iPhones, and we were all going to isolate in rooms. I was going to shoot a couple of scenes. And once I got there, I was like, man, we can do this. Come on, y'all, let's do it one more time. We're only talking about your life. And and we eventually fucking made this thing, man. And it was unscripted, and we were writing as we were going. And I was begging people to come up and isolate with us. And we were begging the CDC to just send us information on what we could be doing at the time. And it was scary and fun. But it ended up becoming something that would change my life. And just like the title of the movie, Fear, the only reason I was there was because at that time I was living in fear myself. I was wondering what this thing was. And as a dad, I was like, man, how do you protect your kids from it? And does it get on doorknobs? And, then we had a whole bunch of unrest. There was a Ahmaud Arbery thing that happened online, and there was social injustice. And I was like, dude, what what is going on? It was the first time in my life I was like, I could see how the world could end. And I made this movie, and this movie was true to form of the movies that I normally make. I always kind of make films that have some social message in it. Fatal was about a man cheating on his wife. Black and Blue is Naomi Harris and Tyrese, and it was the black line, the blue line, and what that means to cops. And Supremacy was an incredible film that I loved making. That was a true story about social racism. And This one movie is about, I really wanted to isolate myself and say, man, how could I take a horror movie, which we all love, that genre, and actually build something into it that goes one step past just horror, right? Which is how do you overcome fear? And the other side of that is faith. No matter who you are, what you have to believe, in something, and you have to have a moment in time where you go, man, I have to choose faith over this fear that I'm dealing with.
Yeah, and as you were saying, the movie obviously plays off several different fears that we see through different characters here. Did you use any of your own personal fears that you kind of instilled within these characters?
I think a little bit of the movie is a lot of me, right? Like, the commitment. It took me a long time to get married. I was a dude like, oh, it's cool, man. Next year. You know what I mean? And next year myself, I almost didn't have no more years, right? So, I think everyone has a fear of not being trusted, or not being believed. You know what I mean? When you're really working on something or you're really passionate about something, all of those things, a little bit of me is in that whole movie, in terms of like what it's about. But what's really cool about that film is just how crazy of a time. Now I've watched the theater a bunch of times with people, and we laugh at certain parts, like someone coughs and everyone looks. You know what I mean? Like, you had to be there, man. Like, you guys were there. You know what I mean? You have to be there, man, to remember if somebody like coughs or, spits or what. You're like, wait, man, what's going on, man? You all right, man? You like, and I mean, we were serious, so a bit of it is like that movie really touches a lot of those things that we were dealing with as people that now are a little bit funny, but at the same time, it's like, no, man, when people are paranoid about things, it just is what it is.
Now, one thing I really loved about this movie was the setting of it. It kind of gave me off some like sort of Shining vibes with the whole like sort of lodge, cabin in the woods type thing. Now, this was all, I assume, on location, correct? Since you guys were shooting during COVID, you couldn't be on set and whatnot.
No, man, we were the first film, so we made a bubble.
Yeah.
And all living in that lodge, that Strawberry Lodge, we all lived in, and we shot there. And the movie took us 13, 14 days to make the entire film. It was made for 900 grand. And we worked our ass off, man. Everybody was moving tables and helping moving cameras. And and we were hoping that we didn't get sick. And that was the awakening for me. There was a moment on set where one of the actors at the time, King Batch, was doing a scene, and he spit this wine out, and he kind of like almost threw up. And it was a little bit of him acting, but at the same time, I think he really got sick. And the camera dropped. And I was like, hey, what happened to the camera? I ran into the other room. We got fucking 500 masks on and a Glad bag around our bodies. And I'm like, hey, what happened? What's going on? And I seen the camera guys walking out. And I was like, hey, what's going on? And it was like, man, that's it. We're done. We're out. So what happened? He was like, he fucking coughed in there, man. Like he threw up right by me, man, right by the camera. Now, today, you're like, what are you talking about, right? But then there was a moment where they were like, hey, we want to have a test now. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know we don't have it? Just like the movie. And I'm like, oh my God. And we had to sit there and take a day and test. And so it was a very tense moment, making fear. And it was really cool. But at the same time, there would be moments like that, or moments where an actor got too close and say, hey man, do you think I got too close right there? And I'm like, damn, that's how the whole ecosystem of that film was made. So in the movie, if you really watch it, when they're in the bar area and they're all kind of together in certain scenes, you could kind of feel the vibe that the reality of the real life of them they're not wanting to be next to each other.
Now you have a great cast here that all turn in really good performances. Can you talk about, the casting process for this? Because I assume, obviously, it being at the height of COVID, it couldn't have been easy to get some of these actors to come out.
No, man, nobody would come out. Yeah, so these were mostly. Look, man, I feel like when you're an independent filmmaker, you're a horror filmmaker, like we're always kind of like the last ones out, man. You know that? Like we're always fucking fighting for something or begging for something, or we don't have much time. And I think we're the coolest filmmakers, but we also have the hardest time. You know what I mean? But yeah, like most traditional films, independent horror movies, you're banking on your relationships, or you're calling and you're asking someone, hey man, come on, just try it, man. This is gonna be great, So in this time when we were in, Joseph Sikora, I knew Joe from The Intruder. And then I had shot Power previously before the season finale of Power with him. And he was one of the first phone calls. I knew me and him had a great rapport. He trusts me as a director. And I was like, dude, he was in Brooklyn. And I'm like, man, you can't fly here, but what do you think about coming to Tahoe? And he was like, couple conversations, he was like, dude, I'm loading up my wife. We got a new cat and we're going to fucking drive from New York to Tahoe. And they did. He was like, dude, we want to get out the house too. And that happened. And T.I. was always a rebel. He's a rapper. You know what I mean? He's like, man, fuck this shit. I'm trying to do something. And I'm like, come on, T, like, come out here. And he came, and King Batch was the same way. Everybody just kind of was in a moment in time where they were like, all right, I'll do it. You know what I mean? And those people came, and that's how we made the movie. And that's also why the movie is so unscripted and was put together so raw, is because I couldn't get into a location. I was writing on the day. I didn't know who the cast would be. So once we all kind of got together, that's when the magic happened. And but yeah, man, I love the cast. Ruby Modine from Happy Death Day, Matthew Modine's daughter, you know what I mean? It's like, what? So we got her, and everybody else just kind of filled in. Annie she was an up and coming to me. Like I had seen a few things she had did, but I was like, man, I wonder if she could hold this film down as a lead opposite Joe. And she was able to do so. Terrence J, who I thought was magnificent, who's been like a host on so many things. He was such a personality. And I know he has had some great runs at acting. So we just kind of put this ragtag group together of all these great faces. And I just said, man, let's do it. And we did it, man. And I'm very, very proud of this movie.
I do have one question. Outside of the real life horrors that you kind of portray in this movie with like pandemics and everything, there's a lot of like traditional horror as well, like some really kind of frightening scenes. What are some of your horror influences, like from other movies, that kind of helped you on this one?
Man, I was saying earlier, man, I came from the inner city, and I came from a world, the Chicago, Gary, Indiana world, where movies and film have always been escapism for me. And for all of my friends, like, no matter what it is, whoever you are, I feel that's the power and the beauty, especially horror movies, right? It's like, dude, Toxic Avenger, you know what I mean? It's like, you just can sit back and be like, man, Nightmare on Elm Street, everything you have at Trick or Treat, Leprechaun, right? Whatever the hell it is, you're just in there when you're younger. You know what I mean? You're like, oh man, this is great. It's scary, it's wacky, it's a world, and you just remember it. And I took a lot of those social influences from a long time ago, and those things have lived with me. Some movies I haven't seen in years and decades, and you still just recall them when you're doing this work. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I want the door to be like The Shining. Remember the girl was standing there? You just remember stuff. So a lot of my DNA is obviously Stanley Kubrick is incredible, and what he was able to do at The Shining is always something that this movie kind of tries to mirror at times, in terms of like people losing their sanity as the movie goes quicker and quicker down the rabbit hole. And then also a world of a little bit of the horror, has a little bit of the Saw elements, you know what I mean, in terms of like how I touched on some of the graphic natures of the guy with the sink. You know what I mean? That's very brutal, and that's not atypical horror film. That's brutal shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But then, some of the more nuanced stuff like, being dragged downstairs and all that comes from more of supernatural. You know what I mean? So you can think of movies like The Entity, you know what I mean? Barbara Hershey, 1982, like, oh man, like there's something in here that's moving as a spirit. So I just kind of like the social construct of all the classic ones. And I just kind of pull from things that I think were great and, not steal, but borrow, because you can't reinvent the wheel, man. The only thing you can do is put some rims on it. You know what I mean? But these guys have done, I'm looking at this stuff. I was just telling somebody earlier, I was saying like I went and seen the new Evil Dead last night. And I was like, oh man, it was crazy. Like I'm sitting there like the original Evil Dead and the remake after that was so phenomenal. And then I'm watching this last night. I'm going like, man, like the effects were just brilliant. You know what I mean? It was just, I was blown away by the actress and the looks and the makeup, and they really did the blood and all that. But I was thinking to myself the whole time, like, man, do you know how incredible The Entity was? Like, it would stand up against that movie today. You know what I mean? And be better. It's like, but I just feel like, so when I say like, you can't reinvent the wheel, there's been some prolific, you know what I mean, writers and directors that, Wes Craven, man, like guys that just fucking just had nothing, you know what I mean? DP, Dan Pearl, you know what I mean? Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like just what guys just grabbed the camera and just said, man, this is it. I'm winging it, baby. You know what I mean? And they just give you the greatest thing, greatest cinema that's not always in that time or in that era received. But then later it's like wine. It just, you're like, man, look at that. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. So anyways, I'm influenced by everything that's, 70s, 80s, 90s that we just kind of fell in love with.
Amen. I loved hearing all of that. You definitely know your stuff. And maybe one of my favorite quotes now, you can't reinvent the wheel, but you can put the rims on it. I love that. Absolutely love that. Unfortunately, Deon, our time is running short now, but everyone make sure to go check out Fear. It is now on demand. As of when we release this, it hits on April 25th. So make sure to go and check it out. Deon, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Deon.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.